Hello, welcome back to my channel. It's been a long time. If you're new here, my name is Mihaela Gruja. I am a mother of 2 children now. This is baby Arlo over here, who is 11 months old. Oh, sorry, 11 days old. And I also have a baby daughter called Harper, who is 23 months old. And if you're returning, welcome back. I hope you've been well. It's been a while since I made videos. But man, life being pregnant with a toddler has been very challenging. So today I want to chat to you about my second birth story. I made a video about how I delivered Harper. Birth number 1 was quite fast, I would say. It took 3.5 hours from the moment my waters broke. So I was expecting birth number 2 to be even faster. Now, one thing to mention that I did during my second pregnancy was working out. So I worked out with a PT from 3 months of being pregnant all the way to the last month. I think that helped a lot. You'll hear the details in a second. Squats aren't just for a nice bum, as my PT Claudia says. It has helped so much with the actual birth and labor. I was supposed to have baby come on the 12th of November. That was my due date, but he came, I would say, much sooner than that, 12 days earlier. So he arrived on the 31st of October. I was at home. Harper had just gone down at 7:30 p.m. It's her bedtime. I was sat with my mum in my office. We were just chatting, and then I said, hold on, I just need to go to the bathroom to take a poo. As I was doing my business, my waters broke. It was just as simple as that. Water was just gushing on the floor. I just knew deep down that we had very little time to go. You know when you just know? Water was coming out. It was clear water. It was just coming out, and my underwear were really soaking. So I went and took a quick shower and then put on a white, one of those pads, really thick cotton pads, just to monitor the color of the water. It's really important to see if it's turning pinkish, if it's green, just to make sure that I'm aware of what color it is. And I started having these tightenings. I wouldn't call them contractions at this stage because they weren't very strong, but they were certainly like this, just like a slight period pain, and you could feel something was. Oh, I've got something in my hair. Clip. You could feel something was happening, but not as intense as a contraction. But about 8 p.m. I had my hospital bag already packed. Thank God I had packed that maybe 2 weeks prior to this. 8 p.m. I started sort of throwing a couple more things in the hospital bag, just getting ready. I'm feeling those tightenings, and my husband was making dinner. So I go downstairs to him and I said, my waters broke, tonight's the night. He's just like, oh shit, we don't have a lot of time, do we? At about 8:20, I thought maybe I should have some food before we leave. At this point, I had called what's called MAAACK unit, the Maternity Assessment Center unit here in Leeds, just to let them know that my waters broke. I've got these tightenings. They suggested taking some paracetamol, but I didn't want to do that, mainly because I wanted to be completely aware of the intensity of the pain, and I didn't want it to be masked by a painkiller and then me not realizing that I had to leave the house. Probably about 8:20, I said, okay, I'm going to sit down and have some food. I was so hungry. And I just felt a very strong contraction. And I just knew that A, I couldn't sit down to eat, and B, the time was coming sooner than I had anticipated. Ordered an Uber at maybe 8:25, and we were out the door by 8:30. Effectively being at the hospital at 8:44. I know it because I looked on the app. It was 8:44 when we got to the hospital, and the second I walked through the automatic doors, I just felt my first real contraction. One of the main signs for me that it was time to go to the hospital, and this is something that I knew from my first pregnancy and birth. Having just mentioned that I'd taken a poo, I felt about 8:20, 8:25 that I wanted to go to the bathroom again. I just knew it wasn't a case of going to the bathroom, it was a case of baby's head. That was baby's head. We arrived at the hospital at 8:44. From the ground floor all the way to the first floor where the antenatal clinic is, I was in pain. I get to the antenatal ward. They say, we have to check you. It's so uncomfortable to sit on your back to be checked. I was sweating profusely. I had to strip all my clothes away and go into a nightie. Nonetheless, they did have to check me out just to reveal the verdict that I already knew, that I was fully dilated and it was time to go. They were like, it's fully dilated, go, go, go to the delivery suite. They brought in a wheelchair and wheeled me out of the antenatal ward. Garrett behind me was like, should I come back for this bag? I'm like, don't come back for the bag, take it now, this is the time. So I knew that it was going to happen very quick. I felt it. Once we got into the room, immediately got into a kneeling position on the bed facing the wall. It felt comfortable the first time when I gave birth, and I just went with it. You know, every time I felt like pushing, I was pushing into it, breathing through it. And I think I stayed in that position for about 15 minutes. I was using gas and air, which was extremely helpful to relax me. In the beginning I wasn't doing it right. I was sucking air in and then taking it out of my mouth. She said you have to keep it in your mouth the whole time. So once I got the hang of that and I could feel that air making me a little bit dizzy, it felt really good. About 15 minutes into pushing in this position, I wanted to change positions to be sat on my bum and holding my thighs to have some leverage. Hello. And that position for me was really good because it gave me the leverage that I needed to push. Now, one thing to mention, the second birth compared to the first one, is that I was much more aware. Even though I was high on gas and air, I was so much more aware of everything that was going on around me. I was much more aware of my breathing and just much more in control of my body. The first time there was just so many unknowns, every sensation was new. The whole experience was obviously the first time doing it, whereas the second time I just knew what I was doing. I came to the hospital as a mum, which is completely different. My husband came to the hospital as a dad, and you have a completely different attitude. I was pushing and pushing, breathing with my abs down, just breathing down, and I could really feel baby's movements. This time around, I was just so aware of everything that was going on. It was about 9:27, 9:28 that I gave a big push, pushing baby down, and I feel the head coming out. And then I took a couple of more breaths, and then with the next breath the whole body came out, and I felt it. With Harper, she came out all in one go like a slippery fish, and she was just like already out, almost slipped out of me, whereas he just kind of gently exited, and I felt everything. I know it might sound a little bit daunting or scary or whatever, but for me, I really wanted this experience. I wanted to feel it fully and to really enjoy that moment, you know, the moment, and I did. They asked me if we wanted him to be wiped down, to which I said no, because I wanted all the benefits of that beautiful vernix on his hair and on his body. He was put on my chest, and that was pretty much it. So 9:28 he was born, and he was a happy man. Look at him yawning. Happy man. He was put on me. What came afterwards was a little bit different than what happened with Harper. With Harper we were connected for quite a good time, whereas on this occasion I was losing quite a bit of blood. Now, they couldn't really identify the cause of that, but one thing was for sure, my placenta was on the move. Once that's happening, they really want you to, you can no longer be connected through the umbilical cord if your placenta is out of you. Because I was losing blood, they really wanted me to give birth to the placenta as soon as possible. So they did give me a shot of, I believe it is oxytocin, to speed up the process of eliminating the placenta. I did that, and I was still losing a lot of blood. We cut the cord immediately after that, Garrett did. While I had baby on my chest, they asked me to get some more gas and air and for them to do a bit of investigation as to where this bleeding was coming from, because shock, surprise, I didn't tear at all this time. With Harper I had a minor tear, and the second degree tear, I think, and they stitched me up just in case. With Arlo I did not tear at all, which was amazing, but it didn't explain why I was losing blood. So then the investigations afterwards were a little bit painful. They had to prod my stomach and like push my it was painful. Gas and air certainly helped, and obviously having baby on me and feeling like, I've done it. Just in case, put a cannula in my vein, just in case I needed some blood transfusion, which I didn't, thankfully. So that was that. Once they finished examining me and looking around, seeing if there was any problems, I was just sat with him on me, and we were breastfeeding and doing skin to skin, and they weighed him. He was 3 kilograms and 300 grams or 380 grams. I took a bath. They give you the option to run your bath or a shower. Obviously I choose a bath every time. My husband had some skin to skin with him, and then we were moved into the postnatal ward. Now the policy for birth, this is the policy in terms of COVID, you can have your birthing partner with you, but the biggest change, biggest difference from last time is that he had to leave. So I spent the entire night on my own in the hospital, which wasn't as bad as it sounds. It was lovely to spend time with him. A good thing about it this time, because of COVID, you have to do a test, a COVID test, but because we came in so quickly and we had to go into the delivery suite, they didn't have time to do it when we arrived. So they did it after I gave birth, and because they didn't have the results, they wouldn't until the next morning, they had to isolate me in a separate room, which was brilliant because I could have some privacy and be alone with Arlo in the room, have a little bit of space for myself. So my husband had to leave, which was in a way good because he could get some rest and also be with Harper when she woke up, and it was really important for me to keep her routine going. I'll make a whole video about how we handled this transition and how we handled Harper and her meeting baby and all of that, but it was really good that he went home and he was there when she woke up. So that was it. That was my delivery story. It was a lot of fun. I felt so good. I really genuinely had fun, and I know it sounds probably ridiculous to say that because there is an enormous amount of pain, but it felt good. It felt really good, and I felt so strong. I think it's because I had been working out, and because generally my attitude this time was very much that of being confident. I was embracing every single aspect of it and trusting my body. We came home the next day around 12 p.m. we were at home, and then that night Arlo and Harper met. I'll tell you more about that in the next video. Thanks a lot for watching. I'm gonna go back to breastfeeding, hopefully, if this little guy wakes up. And let me know below if you found this interesting, if you resonate with anything that I said. Oh, this is my time to go, perfect timing. And yeah, thanks for sticking around and watching this, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.